Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Gonna See My Friends podcast. Hi, I'm Toby Ballinger here with Steven Garcia and David, our friend, and our first time guest on the pod, my good buddy, David Biscevic. And David, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Saturday.
Thanks for having me, Steven, Toby. This is awesome. Dream come true.
Living the dream.
So glad you're here. This was, we're going to talk about the Big Lebowski today. It's a big day. We knew this day was coming. And
we had it circled.
This has been on the list, and it was all a matter of time. When are we going to do the Big Lebowski? It's a big one. It was we knew that the heat was on, so to speak. Like Steven and I were like, we had lunch about 6 months ago, going down the list of what movies should we do for 2025, and this was right near the top. So excited to talk about it. We could talk for 9 hours about this, but we'll see where the day goes. This was the person who took it over the top for us was David. David and I worked together, and we saw each other in the halls of at work, and he said, "So let me know when you're going to do the Big Lebowski, man." And I'm like, "You want to do it?" And he's like, "Absolutely." And I'm like, the very next time that we could schedule, and today's the day. So, David,
on Shabbos of all places.
Oh no, that's right.
I know. Hey, it had to be. It's an important day if I was doing a podcast on Shabbos.
That's a great point. You got the glasses to prove it. You are decked out. For those watching on YouTube, he is decked out. He has got everything going right now. Is that a tank top?
And it's sleeveless.
It's a sleeveless.
Nice.
It's a sleeveless. It's got all the Easter eggs on it. Shit, it's got Sandy Koufax on there.
Oh, damn.
So great.
That is great. 10 out of 10.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, David.
So I work with Toby Monday through Friday, but I'm also a screenwriter. I've had a little bit of success. Haven't sold anything yet, but things are out there. I finished my first novel, which is being shopped around right now. I'm an overall cinephile and maybe one of the biggest fans of the Big Lebowski. So I think I'm in the right spot for this right now. And I'm super excited, like I said, and grateful to be on with you guys.
Oh, this is
great to have an expert with us today.
Yeah.
Steve and I have watched it. Again, we like to cover as many of the movies as we've grown up with. And just because they're so near and dear to our heart, you speak with a lot of passion about these movies. It's a movie that has been, I think there are college classes you can take about this movie. I mean, there's an endless amount.
Well, there's a religion.
Exactly. I was just going to say.
Boy.
Yeah. The dudism. Yeah.
Dudism. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I practice it. I try.
Clearly.
I try.
So let's get off and running. Let's start it. Steve is going to tell us, and put it your way, Steve. What are you going to do for us here?
I'm just going to give you the tales.
You
notice I didn't say deets.
Tales.
Usually people say deets. I say tales.
Hell yeah.
Another example of it. Whatever. Anyways. The Big Lebowski. Came out. When did it come out? March 6th, 1998. Oh, wow, I'm off camera here. 1998. It was written and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. It stars Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Julianne Moore, Steve Buscemi, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Ben Gazzara, and Sam Elliott is the narrator. It's approximately 1 hour. Oh, not approximately. It's 1 hour and 57 minutes. Its budget was $15 million, and it opened to just about $5.5 million, which I think the critics were kind of mixed on it. I think Ebert kind of gave it not a glowing review, but it said that it was a great film. It was a great vibe. It didn't have a plot. It had more of a vibe. That's what he was saying, which I kind of agree with. But overall, it grossed about $48 million.
There we go.
So it's made up for it a lot since then. Yeah, since it came out March 6th in 98, March 6th of every year is now the Big Lebowski Day or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is.
It's my daughter's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That is perfect.
Man, the planets have aligned for you, David.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
And that's it for the tales. The basic deets of the Big Lebowski, which is kind of now become kind of like a cult class. I wouldn't say a cult classic because I think it's outgrown that. But I think initially when it came out on video, it was more of a cult classic. But now it's worldwide. It reaches into kind of every little subgenre of people, and it's got a pretty big reach. So, I consider it a big hit. That's my opinion.
I consider it the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely.
And like you said, with the plot, it is a vibe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so cool about it. Not to mention it takes place in the 90s.
Yeah.
Which is like any movie that takes place in the 90s in LA for me it just does something to me. Like the soul. I don't know, like growing up, like watching movies, being a 90s kid, when you go back and you watch it, it kind of like puts you back in like a carefree type of state.
Yeah, yeah.
And then mixed in with like the philosophy of the dude, like it's just like it's a vibe, and it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I think with the early 90s, sorry, I got fuzz. The early 90s, it was for me, I was just going into high school. I think I was a freshman in 89, 90. And I remember everything was just new. I was young and, you're going into high school and you're kind of scared, but not really. It's this weird thing. So you're in this period of transition. And I think that when the movie starts and it's in the 90s because it's the invasion of Kuwait.
Right. But this aggression will not stand.
It's during the Bush. So it's 92 to 90, whatever, or 89 to 92.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
Yeah. So, and then he post dates his check for the next year.
What is it, like 89 cents or something like that?
69 cents.
Classic. Just tells you exactly who he is right off the bat.
Absolutely. Exactly. To Ralph's.
Yeah.
69 cents to Ralph's for some expired half and half.
When he's got it on his mustache, like
he's already been drinking it. Yes.
Yeah.
The cold open is so great.
But
great.
But yeah, I think shooting. But for me, the first time I saw this movie, I don't remember if I saw it in the movie theater. I think I saw it. I think my friend had it on VHS, and we watched it then. But I think the first time it hit me as kind of this stoner comedy, which at the time I was just coming out of that myself. I'd smoked a lot of that stuff in the early 90s. So I think for me, and when I was kind of coming out of that, seeing that or smelling it would always give me kind of anxiety because that's ultimately why I stopped, because it gave me a lot of anxiety. So when I first saw this, it was kind of like this stoner comedy, and I thought it was, it was cool, whatever. But as in watching it more and more over the years, I've kind of come to this realization that it's more. There's so many parallels to doing the deep dive of this to of the old noir films of the 50s and the 60s, and more specifically, I had just seen The Maltese Falcon probably a couple months ago, and I reading some articles and listening to, I think, Joel or Ethan Coen talk about it, or as they kind of modeled it after the Raymond Chandler novels, where the plot isn't so important as to kind of like it's mostly the kind of scenes, right? So the plot is just kind of like secondary to what happens to him as he goes to try to find this, whatever it is, his goal.
Right.
So I saw
that
a lot
comes
of
through.
That. Yeah. And I saw a lot of that.
Definitely comes through.
Which, like the drinking back in the day was scotch. Here it's the White Russian. Back in the day, they're smoking a lot of cigarettes. Here it's a lot of joints, so, and he's trying to figure out this so-called, crime or whatever it is. And so I just saw a lot of parallels, and I thought that was excellent. So as I get deeper into this movie, you start to unravel. It's like an onion. You start to unravel all these layers, and you're like, oh, wow. I never thought of that. I never thought of that. So, yeah, that was.
And the rug really ties the room together.
Exactly.
And it ties all the random scenes together too, because we kind of like lose, the plot halfway through because a bunch of random stuff does happen.
Right.
But we always have to remember that it's the rug.
Yeah.
The inciting incident is, woo.
Well, and that's kind of the McGuffin, I think, of the whole thing, because after the rug kicks off the whole plot of the story, and then he goes after. Yeah, and then it's like. And then it's like, oh well, my wife is kidnapped, and all that secondary plot kicks in, and then you kind of forget about the rug. But then he doesn't. He's just like,
No.
even when he's laying there and there's no rug, and he's just like,
Right.
But before he was like,
he's like listening to like bowling, the bowling championships from like the year before. Like, he's exactly. And you never see him bowl once. He
never bowls.
Never bowls.
Yeah.
It's just implied.
Yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. I thought Donnie's the only one who actually does any bowling out of the three of our main characters. I mean, you do see Walter stand there with the ball, with the cigarette in his mouth. And I'm like, okay, actually he does.
Yeah.
You don't actually see him bowl. He stands there and he starts walking towards the lane. But Donnie is the only one bowling, and he's bowling nothing but strikes.
Yeah.
He's throwing rocks.
He's throwing rocks, and he is hot.
The way he walks back.
Hey, they're dead in the water. Smokey doesn't stand a chance.
That's right.
League game, Smokey.
When did you see it first, David?
So I actually saw it my sophomore year in college at film school.
Okay.
I thought at that point I'd seen every great movie known to man. And I was in screenwriting 2 with my teacher, Ian Corson. And he was like, we're going to watch a movie that a lot of you have probably already seen, The Big Lebowski. And when he said it, I thought it was Kingpin. Like I was at that point still, I was like, oh man, like whatever, like a stupid like bowling movie.
Yeah.
And he told us that he saw it at Sundance, and it was the biggest movie at Sundance that year. Everybody saw it multiple times because it was so funny. So I sat there and I watched it for the first time in a classroom setting, and I was laughing so obnoxiously. I came home that night and I bought it. I was like, this is like one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I can't believe I've never heard of this. And
what year was this?
My life. This was like 2013 or 14.
Okay.
So it's like one of those things where, when you start smoking pot at a young age, you eventually, but if you start smoking pot later, you're like, it becomes something else.
Yeah.
That's how it was with me. It was like, I finally smoked pot for the first time at like 22.
Nice.
Which was the Big Lebowski for me.
Right.
So it changed the way I viewed movies and the way I viewed storytelling. It was really cool.
Don't you love it when a movie does that? That's the ultimate right there.
Especially being young and you think that, I've seen all the good movies.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. And like you mentioned about McGuffins, I love movies with McGuffins where you're set up with what you think the story might be about, and it just takes you in it's Hitchcockian in a way.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I love movies like that.
Yeah.
It was a life changer. It's just
That's
so
cool,
funny.
man.
It's just a vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, it is absolutely. So that's kind of surprising to hear that Roger Ebert said doesn't really sound like something Roger Ebert would say, but he kind of crystallized it, because my first question that I was going to ask you guys is, what do you call this movie? Is it a comedy? Is it a crime drama? Is it a is it a whodunit? Because it's about halfway through the movie, I'm like, almost no matter how many times I've seen it, I forget who's doing the crime and what in the hell is going. Well, what is it that the Big Lebowski says? What in God's holy name is going on here?
Are you blabbering about?
What are you blabbering about?
And new shit has come to life.
I always forget because I get so drawn into these characters. They're so good. All the interactions, the bowling scenes. You get started off with oh God, I just lost his name. Who's our narrator?
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Oh, Sam
Elliott. You're drawn
yeah.
into Sam Elliott because, I mean, I don't know if in 1998 people were ready for Sam Elliott. He's a huge Western star, and he doesn't fit into this anywhere other than being the narrator. That's why, sorry, it was a long question, but what do you call this movie?
I mean, I've heard it called, I think it's a noir disguised as a stoner slacker movie.
Okay.
Because I think, as I said before, there's so many parallels to, I mean, this is just a guy who wants to chill and he wants to just live a peaceful life, and he gets dragged into these things. And I think
it's true.
And it gets, because everything that happens in this movie, he gets dragged into. And then at the end of the scene, they're back to bowling, or he's in the tub, or you know, all these big things happen, and then the next scene is them bowling. Hey, you know, hey, well, you know this and so I think it's like a noir. I would say it's like a noir film, but it's kind of dressed as this like stoner comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. A comedy noir.
Yeah.
Because you have Bunny, who's like the femme fatale.
Yes, exactly.
Right. You have Lebowski, who's brother Seamus.
Yeah.
You know, a dick, man. So you have like that natural noir type setup.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a comedy.
Right.
It's a stoner comedy too, but the Coen brothers, they play with tone so well.
Yes.
They can mix comedy with high tension, like thriller. Like, you know, you look at movies like Fargo.
Yeah.
And Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Mm-hmm. Like, they're funny, but they're also their own genre too.
Yeah.
So I like how you mentioned how this is like a noir film, because it is.
Yeah.
Like, he's a detective, just the worst one of all time. And Toby, what you said about like not knowing what's going on, even after I watch it now, I'm like, who's telling the truth? Because you're kind of left to decide, because at the end, you know, the Big Lebowski's like, oh, you know, I think you stole the money.
Right.
So we don't actually know. And what I've come to believe is that everything Walter says is right.
Yeah.
Everything Walter's saying is right.
Yeah.
He
just doesn't know how to present it. Yeah.
That's right. I mean, he's presenting it. Walter, God, we could do a whole podcast just on Walter alone. John Goodman is absolutely priceless in this role. I don't know if there's a better role for John Goodman. I mean, every time when he's on the screen, you have to be paying attention to what he's doing.
100%. Even his facial expressions.
Well, he demands it. I think that character demands it because he's so loud and boisterous. You know, it's like he was modeled after. Do you know who John Milius is? He wrote and directed of Conan, the original Conan. I think the first two Conans, and he also did Red Dawn. So he was this. He came up with Lucas, Scorsese, Spielberg. He came up in the 70s, and he was just kind of like this neocon, like war hawk. Cigar smoking, but he surfed every day and he loved guns, and he was just this boisterous dude. That there's actually a documentary on, I think, Hulu, on one of the streaming services. It's just called Milius, and it's just a story about his life, and he's just this like Walter. I mean, he's just like that guy. So I think that character begs to, like, not begs, but he just demands the attention, and he's always wearing glasses. I feel like that's symbolic of his of his view of the life. It's like he doesn't let you see what's real. He's always like,
but you know what I've noticed too, Steven? Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Because I have these type of glasses on too. They change the way you look at the world. It makes it like red and dark.
Right. Yes.
So like he's constantly in a state of like seeing red too.
Right.
So he's like angry.
Yeah.
You know, he lost a lot of dudes and Nom.
Yeah, man.
He did not watch his buddies die face down in the mud for this crumpet, this whore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I love that character because he's so, you just demand. I mean, and also it brings up another point, which I wanted to make, which was the whole the whole thing about what this movie, or maybe the Coen Brothers, I don't know, but during this time, especially during the early 90s, which was this idealized thing of what masculinity is, right? So you have Lebowski, the Big Lebowski, which is the name of the thing. He's this rich guy in a wheelchair, and he's just bums, you hippies. He's all about doing well and status and appearance, and I have money, and and then you have Walter, who's this like gregarious, just kind of like what did I write down here? He's like machismo, right? He's just like just guns, and then you have the dude, which is kind of like this guy who's just I just want to have a peaceful life, man. That's all I want to do. I don't care about anything. I'm not really buying into all this stuff. And so it kind of that permeates in this movie of all these sides constantly at battle with each other, which I think
even
is
Donnie
life.
too.
Yeah, Donnie, exactly.
As like the most docile one.
Right.
Like, shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah.
Poor Donnie too.
Yeah,
poor Donnie,
man.
God.
I mean, man.
So that goes to the movie, and I think that's a theme that I think a lot of people I miss definitely. And then I started getting it with the watchbacks this week. So
nice. I mean, there's any number of directions we could take this episode, and there are, like I said, there are classes that you can take. There's on 420 they're showing this movie at the where are they doing it? In San Francisco at the Masonic Theater, and Jeff Bridges will be there. I don't know if you knew that, David. That there's still tickets available on Sunday, April 20th. Because this is the number one stoner movie according to, I believe it's High Times, and I'm sure there's other authorities now other than High Times, but it beats out Half Baked, it beats out Kumail, they go to White Cat, Harold and Kumar go to. We could break down, go scene by scene, which there's so, like you said, you could put some of these scenes in almost in any order you wanted to as just pieces. It's kind of Clerks was this way when we talked about how it was vignettes.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just you're going to get little 5-minute scenes, and they're all just, I mean, they must have written it that way. I'm not sure that the bowling scene, you can just watch nothing but the bowling scenes. But what I focused on this time is I looked at each of the characters. I really wanted to see what these characters, what's driving each of these characters. With the dude who you could almost say isn't the most interesting character in the movie, I find that I'm drawn to Walter, and I was really breaking down Walter, his juxtaposition of how sweet he is when he's taking care of his ex-wife's show dog while she's vacationing in Hawaii with her new husband.
Marty Ackerman.
And that's right. He's a first and last name. We get the first and last name. And the dude's like, what? And then 2 seconds later, he's holding the gun out. He's pulling a gun on Smokey.
Yeah.
Just the wide range of emotions for Walter. And Donnie, who I don't know, and maybe you guys would know, as I'm watching this, was Steve Buscemi given a script? Or was his character just told, just react to what's happening? Because he almost doesn't. All he's doing is asking questions about what is happening right now in front of him that are pretty obvious. That is just, that's why he's been told to shut the fuck up the whole time.
He's like a child who just wandered into the middle of a movie and was after,
That's right. And that's exactly what Walter says. You come into a conversation halfway through, you're like a child. Yeah. You come in and want to know what the movie's about.
What's the point, Walter? Huh? What's the point? Back to what you said about the dog, Toby.
Yeah.
2 seconds after he pulls the gun, they're walking out, and he puts the kennel on top of the car without the dog in.
No.
And gets in the car. If you notice, he never puts that dog in the car.
No.
The dog does not go in the car. So like when the dude and Walter get in the car and they're like talking about, what just happened. It's like, I'm calmer than you are. The dog is not in the car.
Right.
So
calmer than you.
Well as his intentions were to watch his ex-wife's dog,
right?
He loses that dog that night. So I don't know. That's a little something. If you go back and you notice it, the dog does not make it past that night.
No, I thought the dog was in the car when they were going to drop the money off. I thought I heard a dog like whimpering, but maybe I just
might be. But yeah, continuity purposes. If you watch it, the dog does not enter.
Does the dog go back into the carrier once he lets the dog out at the bowling alley? It's just gone.
Unbelievable. Comes out with the carrier, but the dog's walking with him. And he never lets the dog back in the car.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And like the cops pull up. Also shows you the response time of LAPD at that time. They bowled an entire game. And then the cops showed up.
We got to get out of here. They're calling the cops, man.
Put the piece away, man. They're calling the cops.
Away.
Oh, shit.
Hey, this is not Nom-Smokey. There are rules.
There are rules.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up with my, like, a couple of my uncles were in Nom. And I wanted to say that in front of them.
Nom was a big deal. Sorry to interrupt, but Nom was still, it's 92. And so the guys were going around a lot of, he's clearly got PTSD from, he can't stop talking about how his friends, he had buddies that died face down in the muck.
Right.
And, and now he's back and by God, we're going to play by the rules.
Right.
Well, I think at that time too, I think the Vietnam War was still fresh in people's minds just because
big time.
it was the last war that we were in, because this is leading up to.
Well, we're getting into they're
Desert Eagle.
firing on Saddam.
Yeah, right. So
for the first time.
Yeah. So I think, and you just come off of Platoon and Full Metal Jacket, and so there's all these movies still.
There were a
lot
of Vietnam War movies.
Yeah.
We had plenty to go around, didn't we?
Yeah. So it was, it was just still fresh on people's minds, and you still had Good Morning Vietnam 2 coming out around this.
A
couple of years before.
Love it.
Or when the movie was taking place, anyways. But yeah, so yeah.
With the dude, I think is like you said, like we're saying, he says it when he gets drugged. He says his thesis statement. All I care about is I'm just as the rug. Like as he's passing out at Jackie Treehorn's place. That's it. His motivation is singular. Yeah. All he wants to do, he doesn't care about the money. The money would be nice. 10% of $500,000. Five is apparently $5,000 to him. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that deal. I mean, that's a great deal for Jackie Treehorn if it ever goes down. He's also want to write a check for $5,000. I'm like,
completely
1%, bro. Again,
I dig the way you do business, Jackie.
He can't be bothered. I'm wildly jealous of him to be able to just go through life. All he does is bowl and drink White Russians.
Well, dude, essentially he's that tumbleweed throughout the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's just getting blown into these situations.
Exactly.
And
he's not asking for any of this, is he?
Right.
That's
and
great.
he's kind of just being taken in. Shit, you're peeing on my rug. What the hell, man?
He can't even react. He doesn't get mad.
No, he puts on his glasses. Every time shit happens, he puts his glasses on. And he's just like, at least I'm housebroken or whatever it is. And
they're like, obviously you're not a golfer.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he's just this dude that's just trying to get back to his peaceful life. And all these external things don't let him. And he's like, now they call him, and now he has to go and try to find this wife and drop off money. And all he wants to do is, like you said, Toby, all he wants to do is bowl and take a bath, smoke some weed, and drink some White Russians, and just have a kind of just a peaceful life. And
listen to whale music.
Yeah, literally.
And bowling. Yeah, exactly.
And bowling and listening to strikes being bowled and crowd cheering in the background from 1987.
Songs of the Whale, dude.
Yeah. Songs of the Whale. And I'm like, those were, people used to, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just chilling in a tub. I mean, his coping mechanism he's put in these situations, he's not ever really sure what room he's in. And the way he uses what the last thing he heard somebody else say.
Oh my gosh, I love that
communication.
Yeah.
He uses it wrong too.
Yeah. And he uses it wrong. And sometimes he uses it back to the person that he originally heard it from.
Yeah.
But given the light of all this new shit, given the parlance of our times.
Yeah, the parlance of our time. How he says this aggression will not stand. He heard that at Ralph's and immediately incorporated it into he's just walking around and just saying other people's quotes as a way to communicate. It's the way, I think the way Steve and I first met each other, where this is how we were talking in the break room. We pass each other. He'd throw a movie quote out. I'd throw one back at him. We'd high five and then go back to our offices. Same with me and you at work, David. We did the exact same thing. And it was like we were just only communicating in other people's lines. That's the dude.
I've been doing that forever. And the people that you can do that with are friends for life.
Yeah.
Because movies and specifically movie quotes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does something to a friendship because you can relate on a different type of level.
Yeah.
And this is one of those movies where every single scene has like a line you could drop.
Yeah. And it's kind of an inside joke thing. You have this little connection of because I was telling Toby when I first started at the firm where I met Toby, like me and I think my cousin who worked there as well would always say to each other, we'd always trip over something and just be like, have that removed. And that was just this thing from Stripes, from back in I think 81, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray,
Yeah. And, you know,
You still say that to this day. And I do too.
yeah.
Because I thought it was hilarious.
Oh,
and
shit,
I was like,
that
what's
removed.
up, bro?
But it's that little inside joke thing that you could say to people. And,
Mhm.
and that's the connection. And then you try other ones, and then they're like, oh, they didn't get that one. But then they
Yeah,
try
right.
stuff on you, and then you're like, man, I know that's from something.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
always that thing of like, that's that connection. That's great. Yeah, I
100%.
agree with you, David, on that one. Definitely.
So, David, we talked a little bit last week or the week before when we were talking, and you had, I don't know if we want to do any more plots thing. I mean, we have to talk about Philip Seymour Hoffman's Brant's character, who, good God. Please take, dude, that's nice. That's really good. He is perfect. He is
so
perfect.
good.
He is the ultimate.
It's like an attaché or some kind of, not quite a butler, but it takes it so seriously and is so sincere about it too. You're like, this guy is serious about this job. Oh my God.
When one of my favorite parts in the whole, honestly, one of my favorite parts is when we first see Philip Seymour Hoffman and the dude is in the Big Lebowski's office and he's looking at all the plaques.
Oh yeah.
And he touches one of the things and Philip Hoffman's like, please don't touch that.
Yeah.
And then the dude kind of keeps talking and then slowly reaches out and touches it. And you could tell in Philip Seymour, in his face, that he is so it's one of the funniest parts. And he has these moments, even when he's not talking, it's just little facial expressions or, you know, when the Big Lebowski is giving his monologue, he's just standing there robotic, you know, like this with his hands by his sides.
Yeah, you're right.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And there's something about it.
Well, when the dude comes out of the office, when we first meet both of the Lebowskis, or the Big Lebowski, and he comes out, and as soon as he comes out, Philip Seymour Hoffman comes just down the hall. Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, he said to take any rug in the house, you know, and
Yes.
and he accommodates him because he's not going to question, you know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So.
And then that's when they meet Buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when he's like, oh.
Like, hey, I'll suck your cock for $1,000. Brant can't watch that.
Yeah.
That's marvelous.
Yes, we're all quite fond of her.
She's very free spirited.
Who is that? Your boyfriend? He's a nihilist.
Oh, must be exhausting.
Looks exhausting.
And of all people, the dude who is, I mean, you would call him a pacifist. He doesn't, you know, as Walter puts down pacifism big time.
So does the Big Lebowski, or so does.
Right. The Big Lebowski. They both talk about, but he is the definition of a pacifist. But he looks at the nihilists like, I mean, that's like the ultimate. I don't know if you call it pacifism. Nihilism is just that, you know, you don't care about anything.
Right.
But he's like, yeah, he said it must be exhausting as he's asleep. The guy's then the nihilist number one is asleep in the pool, you know. And then when they go to leave, he's all, okay, dude. Well, let's get you out of here. And he's like, all right, I'm just gonna go find a cash machine. These little throwaway lines where you're like, he's devastatingly funny, but you can't tell if he means to be. Sometimes clearly he meant to be right there. He's like, he doesn't have. First of all, he doesn't have $1,000, but you know, if he did, he just might come back with $1,000.
Right.
Well, I think it's the idea that it gets, you know, because he ends up sleeping with the daughter. Well, I forget the daughter's name. Maud.
Yeah,
that's what it was. And all it took was, you know, like, it didn't take much. You know, he just did it. So I think anything.
Well, again, it happens to him.
Yeah, he's like, hey, that's my robe. Got to another roach.
Yep. But he swallows that one, doesn't he?
He
doesn't that one
sucks
shoot
that one
down
down.
his throat? Yeah. I hate that. Don't you? Oh God, you know exactly. You're all, oh, that looked like it hurt, dude.
That's a Cheech and Chong. That's a Cheech and Chong thing.
Totally.
He's all.
Yep.
So funny.
Yeah, we got to do Cheech and Chong. That's a good one.
Yeah, we do. Those were the stoner movies when I was a teenager. That was the only ones. I think they almost invented the genre.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I ever looked at this movie as a quote unquote stoner movie, but you're right. He is talking about, he's
Well, I'm just using the parlance of our times here.
He says, you mind if I do a J? And he's in, at the mansion.
Are you surprised at my tears, sir? Oh, fucking A. That's one of my favorite parts.
That one, or when he's like, Mr. Lebowski, dude.
Yeah. Dude.
Oh,
let's do this. David, you had mentioned that you had, I believe, a top 5 of some kind. Should we talk about some of your top 5 no particular? Start with number 3. How about that? Just to kind of mix things up a little. Try to be a little versatile here.
All right. I have something. Million.
I'm sure you do. Are we talking quotes?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do a quote because I wrote down a bunch of quotes as they were coming.
Wait, let's do it.
Let me just pick one. Oh, come on, Donnie. They were threatening castration. Are we gonna split hairs here? Am I wrong? Like just little stuff like that, or the bum's lost.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it. Tattoo it on your forehead. One of my favorite lines: tattoo it on your forehead. And just if I could throw one more out really quick, it's when Walter goes to see, I forget the dude who wrote the show Branded, and he's in the Iron Lung, and he asks the wife, he's like, does he still write? And she's like, oh no, he has health problems. That's one of my favorite parts. It's like he obviously does it right. I just have a million of them. Amphibious
he's in an Iron Lung, dude.
Yeah, dude.
She's oh no, he has health problems.
Yeah, well, he's got health problems. Yeah, Amphibious Rodent. I am the Walrus.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
all
one of
these
the only
things.
Well, I had a question, and I don't mean to cut you off, Toby. So for me, I was telling Toby this the other day when we were talking about this movie, which was for me up until this week when I was watching watching it multiple times. I always checked out at the whole when they go to the kid's house, right? And I never understood that whole, because I know this movie goes in all these different directions and I can follow it. But for some reason, I check out when they go to the kid's house. And for the longest time, I can never figure out, well, what does that have to play into what is going on? Because it just seems like an anomaly in this movie. What's your interpretation of that scene?
So when he gets the car back after it got stolen, he finds the kids' homework.
Right.
And he has Walter track him down because he thinks that the kid stole the money.
Oh, they stole the money.
So they're going there because he thinks that the kid stole the car and in doing so took the money out.
Okay.
So that's why when they pull up and the Corvette's there, he's like, I already spent the fucking money.
That's right.
Oh, given the options, I'd say he still has $900,000 left. They go there to try and get the money out.
Right.
And, that's what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass.
That's right. This is what happens, Larry.
You see what happens, Larry?
You see what happens, Larry?
Do you see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass? Could I say that on this podcast?
Yeah,
sure.
You can say whatever. So that's what I thought, and I just thought it was just I was missing something. But okay,
did you too? Because you mentioned that, and I was like, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah,
because Walter's wearing different. He's wearing like some kind of costume in every scene. He's dressing for the occasion that they're in. He's kind of got the fishing thing on when they're bowling, but then when they go to drop the money off, Walter's wearing camouflage and they're listening to Clearwater Revival, and it's playing Nom songs in the radio. I mean, he shows up to Larry's house, Larry Sellers' house, in a suit. He looks like he's there on official business, right? And the dude's wearing the same freaking cardigan. That's almost a robe. Like he wears a robe and then there's the cardigan, and it's hard to differentiate the two because for him, he's just comfortable guy.
Yeah. He's got the jellies on his feet.
Dude, he's always open toed. I think he wears pants one time in the whole movie. And that's when they go to Jackie Treehorn's place and like, oh, he does own a pair of long pants. You gotta forget that he does have a pair of khakis.
Some cool, little psychedelic pants too.
That's like Zubas.
Yeah.
So what was the kid? So the kid did steal the car.
kid stole the car.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They got us working in shifts to figure out that crime.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite. He's like he leans when he asks the cop about again talk about the LAPD in 1991. Is that what it's supposed to be? Yeah. All hell's about to break loose in LA. By the way, before this movie,
exactly.
We got next couple of years are rough for the LAPD. But right now at this time, they don't really give much of a fuck about that. Oh yeah, no, you're lucky you got your freaking car back,
exactly.
Bro.
Yeah.
With wheels on it, and that it can actually drive down the road.
He's lucky they left the tape deck in the Credence.
Oh my God, yeah. Or yeah, right. But I forgot what they got us working in shifts. Larry doesn't say a word, this character.
Right.
Yeah.
All he does is have that dumb look on his face, like, what is going on right now? Who are these guys in my house?
Yeah.
And there was no money in the car.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. Like, there was no money in the car. So even if Larry did steal it, which I assume he did, there was no money anyway.
Okay.
You know?
And that's one of the things that because if you do tune out, and I can see what it's over an hour into the movie, and a lot's going on, and it's really funny, but after an hour, maybe you had someplace you had to go. You had to, get up and, it's time to, or your lunch break was over and you had to get back to work, So the whole thing was they find out that the Big Lebowski is a fraud. Maude tells him he never had any money. It was the foundation's money. And so there was probably no money in the briefcase to begin with.
Correct.
And it shows him, it shows the bit. Of course, this is speculation because the dude's kind of playing this through his head where he's putting Pacific Belt yellow pages into the briefcase, and you're like, well, then if the Big Lebowski's plan was to get this $1 million from the foundation for himself by hiring the nihilists who are willing to go so far as to one of them is to cut their own toe off, then he's getting Fletched here. The dude is,
yeah.
Right.
This is what Stanwyck did to Fletch, in hiring somebody. He's like, who would ever suspect you're this slacker? No one will ever miss you. The cop in Pasadena says to him, Mr. Lebowski carries a lot of water around here. You don't carry shit.
Tree horn.
Yeah.
Tree horn. Oh, yeah. Tree horn. And but that's the whole point, is that he's a kind of a nothing, right? He's
right.
Invisible. Go ahead. No, that was
he says that at the beginning. He's like, just because we're this and this and this, you think we can? And he's like, well, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, aren't you? Well, yeah.
It's true. He hasn't done.
Yeah, he's just the patsy. He's the perfect patsy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that carries kind of like when it hits that point, it's like, because for me, back when I was first watching it, that was the scene for me that was like, I'm the dude in this thing, because I would have done the same exact thing. I would have been like, well, you didn't get the money to him when her life was on the line, and I would have been stressing out about that.
Exactly. Oh, dude.
All right, Steve, do you have any what am I forgetting here as far as so the dude? Okay, we talk about Donnie. Donnie wears different bowling shirts.
Yeah,
none of them say Donnie. They all have a different name on them.
Do they really?
Yeah, none of them say Donnie. He's got one that says Ray. That he's, but none of them say Donnie. I don't know where he's getting all these bowling shirts. He's clearly a good bowler.
Yeah,
he's on this team. He's sitting in the chairs from the other lane. He's never sitting with the dude and Walter. So he's kind of an outsider in this group of three guys, which is clear because most of the scenes are the dude and Walter arguing like an old married couple most of the time. And he only asks questions. He's I'm the walrus, I think, is one of the few statements he actually says.
Right.
He's just helping out because this one he does know the answer to.
But he doesn't.
No, but he keeps interrupting. Like, what are you mumbling about back there? He's behind them, right? He's just fucking Donnie, dude. And
that's
Steve
the scene
Buscemi
with Jesus.
Yes.
The Jesus.
Oh God! And would be remiss. And finishing season 2 of Severance this week, and I missed and
No spoilers.
No,
spoilers.
I won't. It's just that John Turturro is so great in that show.
Yeah.
And this character from John Turturro is they're talking about a duality, right? Because if Walter tells his backstory, this is like, first of all, he's wearing some kind of like bodysuit track that's way too tight, right?
Right.
He's got the
pinky.
He's got the coke finger, right? The coke nail.
Yeah.
All these little things. He's creepy as hell, and I think the dude calls him. He's all that creep that can really roll it.
Yeah,
and
he's a pervert.
He's a pervert too, dude. And he's all, no, he's a pederast.
What's a pederast?
And the dude's all, oh yeah, and he like. Then Walter tells the story, but the dude's reaction is like, "Oh yeah," like I'm kind of happy to hear this story.
Well, before we get into Jesus, one thing I'll just say one thing about Donnie is I saw this Easter egg online, and it said that it kind of early in the movie when they're kind of threatening the dude with his testicles, like we're gonna chop off your whatever.
What do you need those for, dude?
Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson. Donnie is wearing one of his bowling shirts has the name Johnson on it, so it foreshadows his death in that obscure way. That's a little Easter egg, which I thought it was very, very intelligent, very smart.
Well, the Coen brothers are highly intelligent, and everything in this movie is there for a reason.
Yeah,
100%.
Again, we could do a whole podcast, another hour podcast of just breaking down what's going on in the background.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
On the subject of the Jesus and Donnie, one of my favorite subtle moments is when the Jesus blows a kiss.
Oh yeah,
and then it cuts back to Donnie, and because it's in slow motion, his blink is like really slow. And it's
good.
To me, it's one of the funniest parts. Like I could say that about everything being the funniest part, but in that scene, it's one of the best parts because it's like. Just great acting with no words. Just and you feel it.
It physically hits him. The blink for the kiss. Jesus's blink or a kiss hits Donnie, and he's pushed back by it.
Literally, dude.
He has this visceral reaction to it. And you're like, it's just the dumb look on his poor face, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
That whole pan across the three of them, and there's another one, Jesus, and with Walter's, he's got that. It's hard to tell on a pod, but he's kind of looking down, like, oh my god.
And the dude's like this,
yeah.
And Donnie's head is right in between the dudes,
right between them, behind him.
He's like looking in, like through a window, like hiding.
Going back to what Toby was saying, he's the outsider. He's constantly on the outside. He always has to look.
Right. He's like peeking in through something.
Yeah.
I don't know why Donnie enjoys hanging out with these guys other than he just doesn't know any better.
Right.
I mean, he is a child. When they're sitting at the bar, before they start bowling, the three of them are sitting at the bar. And the dude's got a White Russian. Walter's got beer. I think it's Miller High Life, I want to say. And Donnie's drinking, and I don't know if you remember this drink, but I certainly do. He's drinking a Slice Cola. An orange slice cola. There was a vending machine at my grammar school that the first machine they put in only served Slice. It's like a juice. It's not a cola.
It's not around anymore?
No, God, no, it's not around anymore.
What
it was barely around then. I don't know where they found that. 98, it was gone. But in 91,
what is it
92,
now?
It's just gone, dude. It was only around...
But there's 7-Up, and what's the other thing now?
Sprite.
Okay. So that was an offshoot of Sprite. That was like just another alternative.
It was called Slice, like it was a slice of a piece of fruit.
Right.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do.
And whose was it? Was that a?
It's probably a Pepsi thing. I don't know.
A Pepsi thing. Well, none of the kids were like, oh, we got soda, but we're like. It's kind of like when you're, hey, can we stop and get a hamburger? We have burger at home. And you're just like, oh, man. This was like, we got soda, but it was like, hey, we got soda at home kind of. And we're like, I'm not bringing 2 quarters for this.
I want a Sprite. We have Slice.
We have Slice. You're like, what the hell? It's
like off-brand.
Slice.
Yeah.
It
Just
looks like
hope that
Slice
that's what he
got
would order at the bar.
discontinued in 2000, and then Pepsi reintroduced it in 08.
Okay.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
had
But-
juice in it.
Yeah, looks disgusting.
It's
well, wasn't it
this
just
is what
like
he
clear?
chose at the bar.
Wasn't it clear? Of like, was it?
No,
it was like
it was
Sprite.
colored. It was colored
it?
like whatever it was you were drinking. So
Yeah.
he had an orange can. I'm assuming that was Orange Slice, but they had. There was a handful of them, and we vandalized the hell out of that machine. We're like, thanks for the soda, thanks for the machine. Now we're going to like jam gum into the you know what I mean? They were like, they got rid of it. It was only around, I want to say, a year.
So 7-Up, and then we have Sprite. And remember, that was the thing with, I watch all these reactors now reacting to Back to the Future. And when he's like, are you going to order something, kid? And he's like, yeah, just give me a tab. I'm like, can't give you a tab unless you order something. And these reactors are like, tab? What's a tab? And
Yeah, they don't get the joke because that was the only like sugar-free soda at the time. And that was nasty. I'm drinking a sugar-free soda right now myself. It's what is it, the Sprouts? Zevia. It's whatever Zevia. That is not a promo, but good people at Zevia, if you want to throw some money our way, we'll certainly take our first sponsor. No telling where this is made, but but it tastes like a kind of like a sugar-free, like a Coke Zero to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got the fake sugar in it. Zero sugar soda. And Tab was it. Tab always tasted like metallic to me.
Yeah,
sorry, we might be getting off on a tangent here. David, you remember Tab? Do you remember Tab in that pink can? No.
Okay. Yeah, I think they discontinued that like late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was marketed for people that it's kind of like Diet Coke was.
Yeah, it was a diet soda, like a diet soda. And it was, I think probably the demographic was probably 75, 25 women versus men. I don't know when he ordered a Tab at the time, I knew what it was, but I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Because he just seen the commercial on TV and was just kind of, but no, he doesn't. He wanted something without sugar. Marty wanted to say, he's like, give me something without any sugar. He's something without sugar. And he gives him a cup of black coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought he was going to give him water too after that, but
there you go. You could have.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So, are we want to do some Klay Thompson, or do you want to hold that off?
Do you got? Listen to me. Hey, you got any quotes you want to throw my way?
What do you got, David? You got anything else you want to add?
He's got a few more quotes there.
Okay.
He's going to give us his top 7.
Yeah, let me see. I should have
start with number 6.
Start with number 6. Let me see what I got here. I mean, obviously, that's just your opinion, man. Since we're still in the scene, like one of the best lines.
One of the best. That was initially. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And his whole like philosophy too. Because it's like, and it kind of foreshadows the plot.
Right.
Like because it's an ambiguous ending, it's like it's your opinion, man. Like the movie is kind of what you make it.
Right.
Yeah.
I recently watched this movie with my dad for the first time.
Oh.
And I love my dad, but I lost a little bit of respect for him when he wasn't laughing. He laughed maybe like once, and I was like, hey. He's like, I just don't get it. I was like, all right.
He fell asleep on me. No, he's watching. Okay.
No, he was watching it the whole time. And I was like,
this
wait
is
a minute.
not good.
And I'm still over there like laughing the entire time. And, at the end, he's like, I just didn't get it. And I was like, oh, it's just your opinion, man. Like,
Well, he also says at the end, too, which is often quoted, is, well, the dude abides. And I think that's the whole, including that's your opinion. I think that's the whole theme of the movie is that this dude just kind of goes with whatever's happening and he just tries to make the best time out of it,
Right. And he does abide. He's got a good buzz going most of the time. It seems like he's got a white Russian or a Caucasian, as he calls him.
Hell of a Caucasian, Jackie.
The Caucasian Jackie always has like 4 ice cubes in it. And you're like, when this movie came out, I remember, it was still relatively fresh in people's minds in the early 2000s. I know by that point it was about 5 years old. But when I started, the new group of friends from the law firm, when I started there where Steve and I worked over at Brayton in '03, and meeting Nolan and his group of friends. They had their kind of party house at the time, and they had a White Russian station. And our buddy Slammer was Sam.
Oh, Sam
would drink White Russians, and there was the Big Lebowski poster on the wall. I mean, it was already a favorite in that house at that party pad.
Yeah.
And they were, and I was like, boy, I know this movie as well as I need to, just to be in this room with these guys. We're obsessed.
After I watched The Big Lebowski, I started drinking White Russians too.
They're good, right?
They're delicious. They're sweet, so you can get really sick off them. But they're delicious.
Yeah.
I remember ordering one at a bar one time, and the bartender was like,
Right. It's been a while.
I was like, man, I like The Big Lebowski.
Right.
That's the only reason why you really drink one at this point.
That's right. Yeah, it's a lot of ingredients, and it is a lot of dairy, and the Kahlua is a lot. But you just want it for the vodka. Yeah. It sticks with you. It'll coat the inside of that mouth, boy. I'll tell you what, dude. Nothing like, that's why it's always on his mustache, and he always has that milk. Right?
Exactly.
Right from the first time we meet him, he's got it on his mustache.
He's writing that check, and he's writing it
on. And it's fine to drink it in the store, but if you're going to buy it. But I just love that little bit about him where he's standing and not in the right. We're all the way back to the beginning again. Dude, you could do this all day long.
Yeah.
He opens it up to smell it and he's still not sure. He's on his way home from
he
Poland.
Smells it a couple of times.
He smells it a couple of times. He's not, and we're like, this isn't ever going to go in the refrigerator. It's sitting on that little, everybody, all the different houses that he goes to, whether it's the Big Lebowski, he goes to Jackie Treehorns, he goes to Maud's, they all have a wet bar. Every one of them. He's got a wet bar in his place too. And it's
half and half's out.
Yeah. And the half and half is sitting out. This is LA. He's wearing shorts. They're not cold. It doesn't tell us what time of year it is, but it doesn't really matter. It's LA.
Right.
You're not going to be cold a whole heck of a lot, but
when he goes and sees Maud and he sees the friend with the cleft asshole, Knox Harrington, the video artist. And he's like making a Caucasian over there too, and it's like, wait, everybody just has like White Russian ingredients.
Yeah, exactly. They have it for him. No, he's never hurting for one, is he?
No,
and that works out wherever he goes. He gets a cocktail. I think it said he drinks 9 White Russians in the movie.
Oh wow!
Oh,
yeah, there's a couple other. I pulled up the whole by numbers. I was like, how many times? I was just wondering how many times does Walter tell shut the fuck up, Donnie?
Right.
There was some debate over that, but the number. Okay. Well, anyway, we don't have to go in the number of times it's mentioned that the dude's rug was urinated upon.
Minturated upon.
Yes, this was 20 times.
Jesus.
Yeah.
20.
Or excuse me, 17 times. I'm sorry. It's the way they set this website up is really confusing. Anyway, but let's talk. So again, rewatching it this week and then this morning, there are parts where I will still laugh out loud, no matter if I know it's coming or not. It's so good and sometimes I laugh out loud at stuff that I hadn't laughed out loud at before, but this time it catches me super funny. The interchange between when he's talking about Rocky, well, come on, man, they're walking out to the car, and Walter says, I once dabbled in pacifism, not Nam, of course.
Exactly.
All right, and then the dude says, he's telling him to take it easy on Rocky because he's got mental problems. Walter goes, you mean beyond pacifism? And this is just a great indicator of how Walter views pacifism as a mental problem or a mental condition of some kind.
Hey, pacifism is not something to hide behind here. Look at the situation with this camel fucker in Iraq. Sorry.
The racism, the overt racism that and Walter does kind of come back. They keep talking, and I hate that. Yeah, I don't know if I even want to say it, but he's like, hey, by the way, dude, Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature, so he kind of catches himself. But then
we're not talking about a guy who builds the railroads here.
right. And it wouldn't have caught that early on. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. These conversations are so, yeah.
Yeah, he's like
It's,
bipolar. Like he's like got a split, personality thing.
I'm going to sit here. I'm going to finish my coffee.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm going to.
These are our basic freedoms, man.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy my coffee. One of the best.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this. The biggest laugh, and I hate that. I don't know if I'm skipping too far to the end, but I think the biggest laugh for me, the physical comedy, because I will laugh at physical comedy. I don't care who knows it, is when they go to dump Donnie's ashes.
Oh, yeah.
And it all blows back in the dude's face. It is so like, if you haven't seen this movie for a while and you forget that happens, it's, first of all, I mean,
and the lack of reaction.
Yeah.
And he's just like, because of course this is happening to him right now. I'm going to get my buddy's ashes all over me. Dump him out of, what is it, a Folgers can?
Right.
Just, it all makes so much sense for these people. Like, they wanted an urn, and that was going to be $150 or something like that. They didn't have that. And it's like, they just put him in a coffee can and walked out. Oh boy.
It's almost. Go ahead. No. You go ahead.
That scene kind of encompasses like the Coen Brothers like style, because it is hilarious. And then it turns into like a kind of like sad, like heartwarming moment where like Walter like drops his guard and, hugs the dude and like they're grieving. And it's like one of the first times, not one of the first times, but it shows the depth of Walter.
Right.
He is sorry. And he's like, I'm sorry, dude. And the dude's like furious at him. And he eventually hugs him.
Yeah.
It's a heartwarming moment.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I was going to point out, was that I think it kind of shows you, or shows me, the audience, whatever, but it shows that the real wealth, so to speak, because you have, like I was saying before, about the whole types of masculinity and what people think it is and this and that. But you have the Big Lebowski, who's always about this money, and it turns out that he's broke and they don't have any money. And then this kind of in scene encapsulates the idea that maybe the dude is the richest guy here, because he has friends that genuinely care about him. He has the lifestyle that he wants. He has the things that he doesn't go after what he doesn't need. He has everything he needs. So I think that, and David, I agree with you, because that points out, I think for me, or kind of ties into a bow, like that idea, that sentiment of like, all right, well, who's actually the winner here? There is one. So
and it's definitely the dude at the end. Right?
Yeah,
you see him, he's different, he's happy. They got to the finals, and sometimes the bear eats you, and
sometimes you eat the bear.
Yeah,
and the dude abides.
And the dude abides.
And that's what the Sam Elliott at the end kind of hints at, of this, is like, compares him to like, a Christ-like figure. We're paying for, he's paying for our sins, whatever he says at the end.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I saw something. Go ahead, Toby.
Go ahead. No, I didn't mean to interrupt. You saw something.
No. I saw this thing that said the dude abides is actually from, it's like taken from Ecclesiastes from the Bible.
Really?
Oh, really?
Where it's like the verses, one generation passes away and another generation cometh, but the earth abides forever.
Yeah.
And so like, I was like, I don't know if that's like what they took it from, but if you look at it like that, based off what had happened and what's about to happen, the dude abides, because there's a little Lebowski on the way.
Right. Yeah.
So another generation of Lebowski's coming. And I think they tried to make a sequel that's kind of flopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think there's a thing called The Little Lebowski. Yeah, it got made. There's also a movie about the Jesus.
No,
did you guys hear about that?
No.
It came out during
Tell us about
COVID. I never watched it, but it came out during COVID.
Oh, wow. I got to write this down. Hold on. The Jesus?
Yeah, let me see if I could find what the name of it.
Well, it's not his backstory, I hope.
I hope not either, because I don't want to see it. It's called The Jesus Rolls. It got a 4.4 out of 10.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah.
During COVID.
Yeah.
It's not
I never
does
watched
it have
it.
John Turturro?
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here.
No, I swear, yeah. 2019.
I'm going to have to watch it then.
Yeah, I never watched it, but the cover is it. The cover of the movie is him licking the bowling ball. So
In that
little
purple
nod.
jumpsuit.
In the purple jumpsuit, dude.
Unbelievable.
Looks like he's got cornrows.
Does he really have cornrows? Well, he's got the do-rag in this one, right? He's just so good. Turturro is just so good. And he's been in a bunch of Coen stuff. I know.
I was gonna say
Barton Fink.
Fink, and
that's right. Steve Buscemi's in a bunch of them, and he dies in all of them too, doesn't he?
Yep.
They kill his character off. He's the one who put in a wood chipper in Fargo, and poor Steve Buscemi. Did he ever live all the way through any of the movies?
Maybe that's why they killed him off in that one.
Yeah. Oh boy. But no, you hear him though. He escapes. He's the one who runs out the door, and then you hear the cops come, and then there's a bunch of shots. It's assumed that he dies in that. So, let me see. Do you guys want to do the Clay Thompson? Boy, this is a tough one, man.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones.
Really.
David, you're the guest. You go first, man.
Oh man. So obviously John Turturro would be, but I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, you should. Take it.
All right, I'll give it to John Turturro just because he's seen in 2 scenes.
Yeah.
And he's one of the most memorable characters in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they even made a spin-off of it.
Yeah.
So for that reason alone, mixed in with the Spanish version of Hotel California, and he's got his little lackey Keith behind him, who's always kind of for me, John Turturro will get that 6-man award in the Big Lebowski.
We're gonna fuck you up, man. That's just like your opinion, man.
Let me tell you something, pendejo. You want to take your piece out and flash it on the lanes? I'll take that fucking thing, stick it up your ass, and pull the trigger till it goes click. Jesus. You said it, man. Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
That is awesome, dude.
Well done.
Appreciate it.
Dude, the only reason I got mad is because that was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
you
didn't
want to think of another one?
Let me see.
You do have a backup. Good.
I
better not take mine.
Fuck, dude. I mean,
I told David what mine is.
He did? Let me hear yours. I'll pick up.
Mine's the landlord. Mine is the landlord who comes, knocks on the door, and the dude opens it up, and he's standing there in these PE coach tight shorts, shorty shorts, and he's so awkward in talking to what could be the biggest pacifist on earth, and he's still horribly, horribly nervous. And he's like, "Hey, dude, finally got that venue for my dance quintet." I always want to say that it was his band was going to play, and then they do go and see the dance quintet, and I'm like, I forgot it. They go and see him in this thing, and he's wearing no clothes at all. I mean, the guy, his name is Jack Keller, Kehler, and he's freaking phenomenal. And then the whole point of him coming over to tell him, he invites him to come see the dance quintet on Tuesday, and which of course the dude, I'll be there, man. And then, oh, by the way, it's already the 10th, so he's got to remind him that he's 10 days over. The rent's been due for 10, because of course the rent's due, and he hasn't paid it yet. Right. How would this guy even have any money? How would the dude even have any money? But yeah, the landlord. And then David, you mentioned something. You're all, next time you watch it, check out when he turns and walks away.
Right.
Tell me what.
So
go ahead.
When he comes onto screen, like you said, he's wearing this outfit, but you don't see the reveal of how short his shorts are until he walks away. And it's like a split-second thing.
Right.
But every time that happens, I laugh because it looks so funny because he's got high white socks on and these little short shorts, and he walks away kind of
Yeah.
But you said it perfectly. He's really nervous around the dude who's the last person you should be nervous about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I love that they showed up to his dance quintet too. They all do.
They showed up.
They showed up. And they showed support, which is awesome. Hilarious. Shit. And I also read something about that scene that was an ode to Barton Fink.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Makes
Let me
sense.
see where
That
I
makes
found
sense.
that. Yeah. But I love that character. He's also talking about stoner comedies, if I can, for 1 second. He
Yeah.
is at the very beginning of Pineapple Express. He gets served by Seth Rogen. And he's the one who like opens it up. Is like, get a real job, you fucking cocksucker.
Oh,
like,
no way.
Yeah, that's him. Just a little.
Oh
thing
my
for
God,
the
that's
next
great.
one we do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Pineapple looks so good.
But
So,
I love
so
that scene.
good.
I love that character. That's an awesome choice.
Mine, you guys took both.
Oh no!
Well, I mean, I was so adamant about the Jesus that I didn't really pick another one. I guess I'll have to pick way down on the list. One of the not the nihilists, but one of the initial guys that come in.
Woo?
Your Lebowski.
Oh yes.
Your wife is
played. Yeah, which is played by Mark Pellegrino.
Hell yeah.
Yes,
I've
he
seen
was
him in
Jacob
a lot of other
on
things.
Lost.
Was that?
I love
He was
him
Jacob
so much.
on Lost.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Okay.
So I love that guy too because he was. Yeah, I have a sweet spot in my heart for that man.
So,
but go ahead.
Well, I mean, he just has a small role in it, but I think that every time it's so. I mean, obviously he has to come in and do damage, especially when he's. Is he the guy that shoves in his head?
Yeah.
That's,
okay. He
delivers one of my favorite lines on the movie, which is "Where's the fucking money, shithead?"
Yeah,
like it's just like he's so great.
I don't know. I think it's I need another look or something. What does he say? What's the line, David?
He's all, let me check. Yeah, let me check down.
He's like, I don't know.
There.
It's down there somewhere. Let me take another look.
That's right. That just tells you everything about the dude, right? He's getting swirlied.
Yeah.
And kind of upside down waterboarded, and he's like, "Go ahead and do it again," because he's not going to do anything about it, right?
It's the fucking money, Lebowski.
Married, yeah.
The toilet seat's up, man.
And then right there, you're like, "Oh shit, you're right."
Yeah, pulls out the bowling ball.
Is this guy supposed to be a millionaire?
Yeah.
What is this?
He looks like a fucking loser.
He looks at a bowling ball and he says, "What is this?"
Obviously, you're not a golfer.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. All right, well, hey, any final thoughts, you guys?
My final thought is that this was. I don't think that I was as familiar. Hadn't seen. I don't remember the first time I saw it, but definitely by 2003, I had to like make sure that I was starting to watch it pretty regularly in order to keep up with the conversation that was going on at one of the party houses that we would go to on Fridays, where these guys were still quoting it nonstop all the time. So, but when you look at I think for me, this kind of opened the door for the other Coen Brothers movies, and they're all different, but they're kind of have a lot of the same. You mentioned "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," and that's on that's the Odyssey, right?
Yeah,
It's Homer's Odyssey.
Yeah,
Burn After Reading is another one.
Burn After Reading.
Oh my God,
one of my
Burn
favorites.
After Reading. We have
that
to do
movie.
Burn. So
saw
good.
that in a theater, and everybody was just. I'd never heard a theater that laughed that much at that movie.
And kind of like the same thing where it's like it's a vibe and not really a plot, you know, but there's an overall vibe to it.
Yeah.
Cast is great. All Coen Brothers are great, but like Toby perfectly said, this one for me opened the door.
Yeah,
because I was like, oh, okay, let me see what ave got, and they never disappoint. Like ever.
That's right.
Yeah, they never miss.
They never do, man. David, you have any? Why don't you, before you tell us your final thoughts, tell us how we can find you on the socials and plug that book
for sure. So I'm on Instagram. It's my name, David A. Biscevic. Actually, no, it's not. It's D.
It's D.A.
Yeah, D.A. Biscevic.
Okay.
On Instagram, and you can follow that to get to my other page, which is Encephalon, which is my novel that I had been writing for the past couple years. I was going to self-publish it, but I decided to send it out to a couple publishing houses, and I'm getting looked at right now. So if all else fails in that, I'll self-publish it and put it out there.
The art for it is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, I'm still an active screenwriter. I have a couple things circulating right now. I have a couple of zero gravity management looking at my stuff. So hopefully something happens. So yeah, you can find me there. I'm www.davidabiscevic.com. That'll give you all the links to everything you need to know about me if you want to.
Yeah,
But,
we'll put links. We'll put links
we'll-
in the description too.
yeah, appreciate it.
All
Absolutely.
this stuff.
And just circling back to the Big Lebowski,
Mhm.
in my work, this movie set the tone for how I was, not how I would write, but styles and vibes and McGuffins and
Mhm.
throwing off the audience and not treating the audience as if they were like toddlers, but like
Yeah.
adults who get to decide
right.
stuff for themselves.
Right.
So I appreciate this movie for showing me a different way to tell a story. And I
Nice.
think that's one of the most meaningful piece or parts of this movie is it just gave a different avenue of storytelling. And I appreciated it for that. Not to mention it was
Definitely.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, yeah. That's you hit the nail on the head on that one, man.
And I appreciate both of you guys for
Nonstop.
having me on. Like,
Yeah, dude.
this is so fun. Like, we could do a million of these for each
Yeah.
scene.
Yes.
We should go through each scene.
yeah.
Yes, you could, and people have.
Yeah.
And so when I knew that any movie podcast out there, you go through their catalog if they've been around for a while, long enough, and we haven't been doing this quite a year, and here we are. We got we've done, Steve and I were talking about. We probably have to go back at some point, and now that we kind of have a better feel about what it is that we're doing, and go back and like, did we already do Fletch? Did we already do Back to the Future? Oh, we did. And I'm like, we could redo it because it's probably nothing like how we do it now. We're kind of still. We're still figuring this out, but everybody's got one. If you go back through and everybody would have a different opinion. And this talk about it's a great movie or it's a great whatever it is. If it's a great album, if it's a great book, if you can have all these different people from all different walks of life going back over 30 some years later, almost 30 years later, and still discussing it, and everybody having different. I liked this part about it, and I thought that you still see new things every time that you watch it. And,
100%.
I laugh out loud at different things. Next time I watch it, I'll laugh out loud at some other things. It's just whatever kind of strikes you funny.
Yeah.
It's priceless. I own it, download it, and I've probably got the DVD and VHS somewhere around here. So
Yeah.
I've given them lots of my money just in this movie alone.
Oh yeah. Dude. I mean, I got
you
the
do.
playing
Look
cards.
you all got all the merch. Dude, there it is.
I got playing
that's a
cards.
lot.
I got 2 different
Playing
DVDs.
cards.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez.
You've listened to the
soundtrack.
the Coen Brothers, the soundtrack. You used to have to buy the soundtrack.
You
Great
have to.
soundtrack too.
Amazing
Yeah.
soundtrack. Like Bob Dylan right off the front, like The Man in Me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great song too. Yeah.
Great songs. Terrific
All right,
songs.
Steve,
man.
last thoughts on this, or what do you think?
I just think that this was kind of like the movie that I think on repeat viewings is kind of giving me more insight about how it is that I view movies in general, because this thing is kind of the kind of movie that I like anyways, is because it has, like I said before, it has layers to it. And with each repeated viewing, you can kind of dissect it in that way. So that's what I appreciate about this movie. It's a great movie. I give it like a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
I think it's awesome. And yeah, great movie.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
David,
every
you're
scene.
a 10 out of 10.
I'm a 10 out of 10 on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a 10 out of 10 as well. I can put this on anytime.
Yeah.
It's downloaded to my iPad, and I can just put it on if I'm in an airplane and they've got no Wi-Fi. Guess what? I got the Big Lebowski that I can watch it anytime I want, baby.
Yeah. I mean, there was some days during COVID where it was just on repeat. It would end.
Yeah.
The DVD that I had would just end and then just repeat and cycle through.
Yeah.
No way.
Keep it on. And it's just funny every time. And
Yes.
I'm the kind of guy who, when I'm alone, I'm quoting the movie out with it. And, just laughing like that because it's so funny.
Yeah.
Being like a cinephile and having this, long list of movies. I always thought it was like Indiana Jones, like, Raiders of the Lost Ark or something.
Right.
And up a couple years ago, when I just watched it like maybe 5 times in a row, I don't know what I was doing that day, but Toby might know. But I was like, oh, this is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
Like, this is, if I'm on a desert island, give me the Big Lebowski, give me a White Russian, and we're chilling.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
I could do it forever.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah, it's it's a safe space
Yeah.
to just I know what's going on when this movie's on.
Exactly.
And I know how to feel. If things are chaotic in your life, put this on, and within 10 minutes you'll have forgotten about that thing that was pissing you off. Hopefully.
Exactly.
You can like forget it. You can escape into this world where you just, like this guy has been dragged into so many things. That's
well
great.
put. That's so well put, because everything that he goes through, like, it's a movie, but you're like, if he can do it, if he could just be totally chill with that, can't be worried about that shit, man. Life goes on, man.
Yeah, dude,
that's right.
And I got
never
man.
left alone. Well, that's the pod, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for listening. And David, thank you so much for giving us the push over the cliff that we needed to finally do the Big Lebowski. It feels good, feels right. So I appreciate it, and thanks for being able to come on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean,
you're in the new place.
I'm in the new place, but I normally don't do podcasts.
You had a lot going
Shabbos.
on. I'm like, if you got time to do it, and it is Shabbos.
Shabbos.
I mean, you've made a lot of sacrifices for us here today, my man.
And
so
I sure as shit don't fucking roll, but I appreciate you guys.
Right? That's right.
Seriously, Steven, but this is an emergency. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. This was great. You were welcome anytime.